Cody, I've been checking in here at Sparks Animation Convention 2020 here in Vancouver. Here we are at the Atomic stall, and we have Mark here with us today, and we can start off a very brief interview, just introduction about yourself and Atomic as a company.
Awesome, yeah. So my name is Mark. I am the Talent Acquisition Manager at Atomic. So that basically means I oversee recruitment across all of our studios. So we have a studio in Vancouver, Ottawa, and LA. And I have a small team that reports to me, and I lead that team, and we handle pretty much all the hiring. Atomic itself, we're a purely animation studio. We've done both 2D and CG animation. We've been around for actually over 20 years now. The first studio started in Vancouver, and we've expanded in the last few years. And it's been a pretty crazy few years, for sure.
Yeah, that is really awesome to hear. Such a dynamic studio here, located here in Vancouver. It's an awesome city visiting. And as a career fair here, some students are very interested to see what they would need to learn to potentially get into the industry. And this comes for both high school students and newly grads. So let's start with newly grads. So what is expected of newly grad students to have the right skills to start working in the industry here?
Yeah, I feel like a big thing is for them to know what they want to do. Like, there are a lot of different departments you can work in, and knowing what department you want to work in and showing us work that's relevant to that department is a really big deal. If you want to be in design, show us design work. If you want to be in storyboards, show us storyboards. And then for new grads really also comes down to a lot of attitude. There's not a lot of difference between you and someone else, so being interested in being here, wanting to be here, being excited, that stuff's all really important as well.
Yeah, that is some awesome insight. We were actually having a discussion earlier, but we weren't able to capture this on camera, so we are here sharing some industry knowledge as well. But now we have you guys on camera, and this leads to the next question, and this regards to our high school students. And what tips and insights would you provide high school students in terms of developing their technical skill sets?
Yeah, I feel like as high school students, you all have a lot of really great time now to work on stuff that you're probably going to think isn't the most exciting, but it's all so important. Perspective, learn perspective. It's so hard to learn perspective and learn everything else at the same time. Learn proportions, learn life drawing, learn how to draw. Now you have a lot of time to practice all this stuff. And then once you do actually make it into an animation school, you're going to be able to learn all of the animation related stuff, and you're not going to have to learn how to draw at the same time. And that is going to make a massive difference to you. Also, applying for post-secondary schools, they're going to be looking at a lot of fine art skills. So with them, perspective is going to be important. Life drawing is going to be important. They're not necessarily looking for a piece of animation, but they're looking for a portfolio with art in it.
Yeah, so technicals, and practice. Softwares can come after, and that is a tool that we use to create, and as creators, we always want to have a solid foundation before starting the softwares. And yeah, thank you so much for the insight. And now a little bit about Atomic. What makes Atomic such a dynamic company? It's such an awesome company to work with and work for.
Well, I feel like we're an artist-driven studio. The studio itself was founded by 4 artists who decided they didn't want to work for somebody else anymore, and they could do it themselves. And while they're not as involved as they used to be, we still keep that as kind of being a core value. We say we're artist-driven and artist-friendly, and those are things that are really important to us. Are our artists going to enjoy the project we're working on? Is it going to be something they have fun doing? Are they going to get to see their family? This industry has a bit of a reputation of being long hours and very hard, but it's important to us that those aren't the case for everybody, that people can have that balance between their regular life and their animation life. And then I feel like it comes down from our CEO, who says, kindness is a guiding principle for us in everything we do.
So that atmosphere, helping artists, not only making a decent living, but also improving your artistic abilities at the same time. And speaking of financial stability, this is one of the biggest questions that we get asked when we have to make the differentiation between fine artists and applied artists. So if you can provide us with some insight about how artists can make it financially, to be financially stable, and especially in such an expensive city here like Vancouver.
For sure. I mean, it is definitely a challenge in Vancouver. Vancouver is a very expensive city. One really nice thing, actually, a positive that came out of the pandemic for us, is the reality of remote work is a big thing. We have artists that have moved out into like Chilliwack or Hope or further into BC, and they're still able to work with us because they can work from home. And the whole idea of like a starving artist in this industry isn't a real reality. This is a healthy industry. You know, you have all these different streaming people looking for content. There's a lot of work going on. People aren't starving. This isn't like fine arts where, you know, you have your Vincent van Gogh who didn't sell a piece of art supposedly in his life. That's not how this works. It's very different. It's very robust. People get paid on time and people do well. We have artists who are very senior who are making six-figure salaries. So it's not like it's the kind of space where people are going to starve.
Yeah, so now you mentioned six-figure salary. That is very enticing, and especially earning a six-figure salary doing what you love, and that is probably the best thing that you can have in your early career development. And thank you so much, Mark, for the interview today.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and we'll check it out. Yeah, bye-bye.
We now